So today I'm going to cover basically what is due diligence in mergers and acquisitions or M&A transactions. I'm going to share my screen, show you just a quick outline of what we're going to go over. So what exactly is due diligence in M&A? So what exactly is M&A? M&A is typically mergers and acquisitions, which can involve a lot of complex transactions. However, in most cases, it just comes down to somebody buying or selling a business. What are the steps involved in buying and selling the business? Typically, there's going to be an investigation, which is considered due diligence. And that's basically kicking the tires. When you go and you want to buy something or sell something, you want to know exactly what you're buying. Typically, if you're selling, you already know what you're selling. But usually as the buyer, you want to know, okay, what exactly am I getting myself into? What are the risks? Know everything there is to know about the company and the underlying business, everything about it. Typically, this can occur both before or during a letter of intent or term sheet. So you may already have a signed term sheet or letter of intent, and then you start the due diligence process. You might have already started it early on, starting to talk to different potential buyers or sellers. You may have already gotten financials and things like that. Or it might be, you've already got a signed term sheet, and then you start the due diligence process. And usually you will collect all kinds of information and documents about the company, and you'll usually put together a request list. That can be done through a broker, yourself, or an attorney would put something together, a request list. So what are commonly on the request list? So for example, when I put together a request list for a client, entering into let's say they're a potential buyer, we want to know everything there is to know that, fully discloses everything about the company, risks, legal issues, their finances, taxes. So typically what we'll ask for, and that will be uploaded into a data room or some shared folder, things like corporate document. So is it a corporation? What state was it formed in? Your articles of incorporation, bylaws. So we want to see how it was formed, whether it was properly formed, what state it's formed in, just some basics about the company itself. Are there subsidiaries, the organizational structure? Who are the owners and managers of that entity, or if there's multiple entities, who's in control of those and who are the owners? If you've got a couple owners, that may not be an issue, but if you've got 50 or 200 owners and even some minority shareholders in a company, you have to look at some potential legal issues with more minority shareholders and how to properly structure the transaction. You want to look at contracts, how they run their operations, who their vendors are, customers. Typically, when you do the actual purchase agreement, you're going to be putting together a list of your top vendors, top customers, larger contracts. Buyers are going to want to know what those are, if they're being assigned over. Obviously, one of the most important things is the finances, financial statements of the company, both recent and historical, and a lot of times how they handle their accounting, their tax filings, make sure that everything's current. So we want copies of tax returns and anything related to that. Look into intellectual property. So if they own any trademarks or copyrights or patents, what exactly is protecting their brand name or anything else involved in the business? Have they filed anything? Is it up to date? And legal, litigation, regulatory issues. So if they're in a business that's regulated, have they had any issues in the past? Are they currently under investigation? Is there any pending claims or lawsuits that are going on or potentially coming up? What about their employees and human resources? A list of their employees, employment contracts. Want to see kind of what the structure is. And if there are any benefits, employee benefits, 401k, retirement, any obligations related to those you want to look into. List of assets. What exactly does this business own? If you're doing an asset purchase, obviously that's very critical to list exactly what assets you're buying. If you're doing an entity purchase where you buy stock or the entire entity itself, you still want to know what assets are being included and what they own. What are their debts? Do they have loans out, or any of their assets on any kind of lease or loan agreement that's secured with collateral, so they have a lien against them? List of their insurance. Are they currently insured, underinsured, pending claims that might be coming up? So those are some of the more common issues or requests that are made. Typically, my request lists are anywhere from 5 to 10 pages, and very detailed. So this is just the general categories to give you kind of an idea. But you can get started preparing. If you're thinking about selling your company, you can start preparing for due diligence by putting some of this stuff together. So hopefully that answers some questions.